Hey guys, Stag here. So this is a little bit of a tutorial I've been talking about. It's kind of like a basics to eye. I've recorded this several times now. My cat at one point came up to my keyboard and pressed a button and made it stop recording. So anyway, the easiest thing is to start with a circle. Everything you draw can literally just be broken down into shapes. Whether it be the hand or arm or body parts, like it's all just shapes. So if you think of like the circle kind of being like the eyeball itself or the eye socket, like if you look at a skull, the eye socket's not really circular. I use kind of a cast replica there of a infant skull. Pretty much it's more to the style of the girls that I draw, because I draw bigger eyes. So this isn't going to be realistic at all if you're expecting a realistic eye video. I draw really big eyes. But you can start within the circle drawing like the iris and the pupil, and then worry about however you want to shape your eyes and stylize them after, and adding the skin, pretty much, the eyelids. You can think of the eyeball, not the entire thing, and you don't have to draw the eye to shape of the entire circle, because, you know, we normally have skin covering a good chunk of it. And the circle is just pretty much there as like a basic guideline. You don't have to use it either if you're more comfortable with drawing eyes. And you can use like the top of the circle as more of like a brow line or an eyelid line. Now everyone can do their eyes different, and the biggest thing to do is just practice. Always practice. There is no magic button to learn anything art-wise overnight. There never will be. As far as I know, there never will be. Maybe one day they'll just download the stuff right into your brain. Who knows? But by that point, I don't think there'll be much art really going around anymore. Now, this theoretical circle, I don't normally draw a circle, but it can be good for use of placement if I'm doing like a 3/4 view of a head. I'm not going to talk about placement of the eyes in the head in this video. That'll probably be one of the next videos. Right now, I'm just figured I'd go over the basics of actually drawing an eye. What I might do is completely draw an eye first, maybe throw in a quick eyelid. Sometimes I put my eyelids at the top of this theoretical circle and put my brow way above, but you can use the top of the circle. And when you're practicing and learning to draw, like, you don't want to necessarily copy me. Like it's not terrible to start out, but you really want to find your own style. For a long time, I actually stopped drawing whites around the eyes, so I'm kind of getting back into it. But you can see, like, you can take that basic eye that I just drew and just drop the eyelid too to help stylize it if you want to portray a different emotion or feeling overall to the character. Like, if I end up going that route, I might not. For some reason, I really like adding eyelids in there. Like, I might not include that top eyelid, and I might drop it down. But if I'm doing like a big wide open eyelid, or eye in general, like, I still add a bit of an eyelid, so the eye might technically look bigger than it should be. That's just what I do. I didn't go to school for art. I'm just winging it every day, but I figured someone might want to know how I do my things. So I'm just darkening this up a little bit in pencil to so you can try to kind of see better like the finished product of the eye. I'm not getting too detailed in shading or lighting, and sometimes like you'll probably find a way that you like to do shading or lighting too. That's something that even I'm still working on. I've been doing the new series of my fairy girls, if you've seen any of my time-lapse videos, where I'm just pretty much, the whole focal point of this series was originally eyes, but I'm learning all sorts of things, because I'm just keep painting and working out objects. Like I'm working on colors of the eyes, and then ended up working on hair and colors added to the skin, because something that I often did with my fairy girls was just add in random colors to their skin and their shading. So you can also add your eyelashes however you want, do small little wispies, whatever. Make it your own, pretty much. Definitely practice. Like, I cannot stop saying that. Just fill up an entire sheet filled with eyes. Draw for days. The more you do it, the better you get. That is the only way to learn, pretty much. For some reason, as I was doing this tutorial, I felt the slight urge to shade it a little. Obviously I'm not getting that detailed though. So this part of the video, I decided to just draw a bunch of eyes to show you how changing the shape, the eyelid, lowering it, raising the bottom theoretical lid, because I don't really draw like bottom lids. I normally round the eye. Fortunately, my camera is getting a little blurry. You can still see what's going on, but I got a new camera, and apparently the autofocus was on a little bit, so I was trying to, I didn't realize this till I was doing another part of the video series later on, so hopefully it's not that bad. So normally, often when I'm doing kind of like a bitch face, I guess you can say, I do an eye kind of like this, where they're kind of looking, it can be annoyed, or you could even, depending on how you arc the eyebrow, make it more even curious face. Like there's a lot you can do with this eye, but for the most part, like I really lower the eyelid, or I might sometimes raise that theoretical lower lid. So you can see the position in the circle is a lot different than my regular eye, where it kind of took up the entirety of the circle. Because of this eye's positioning and as closed as the eye is, I wanted the curve of the eyelid to go the opposite direction like it would normally go, and swoop down. So for like the big old round eye, you can have that portray excitement, surprise, happiness, cuteness. It is kind of like a multifaceted tool for me, but sometimes it just really kind of matters where you arc the eyebrow for the most part. And when I'm doing the voiceover for this this tutorial thing, I feel like I'm doing a lot more work than I really need to at the moment, because, I don't know. But what I normally do, like I said before, like I throw in the crease of like an eyelid up above it. Depending on how you draw the pupil or the iris and the eyebrow, this eye could also be like a calm eye. If you maybe brought the eyebrow down a little bit, it could be really surprised eye if you did the pupil smaller, or maybe even raised and cartoonified the eyebrow a little more and exaggerated it. It could also be kind of a caring eye too, if you look at it, like it looks kind of thoughtful at its current state. So for this eye, I decided to do kind of like an angry eye. If you think about glaring with, an actual eye, the eye gets kind of squinty, the brow line gets lower towards the inside of the eyes. So I wanted to bring up the lower lid and down with the upper lid. And you want the inside of the eyebrow to kind of curve down and then up. So this character is pretty much annoyed, not content with something that's going on around her, or just overall just agitated and angry. I wouldn't say one of the eyes I use the most, but it is very useful depending on what I want to do. And you can really stylize any of these eyes to like suit what you need. Like, you don't have to draw the eyelids or anything exactly like I do. It's best to find pretty much your own way, something that's maybe easy for you to do. The more you draw it, the easier it'll get. You'll maybe even learn your own shortcuts. So this eye, I thought I should point out, all the other eyes were left eyes, except this one. It is right. I don't know why I chose to draw this one as a right eye, but apparently I did. So this eye is a closed eye. You can use it like a closed eye could be somebody sleeping, something's calm, just kind of mellow eyebrow just hanging out up there. Sometimes I'll put like an extra crease underneath or just above the eyelashes. I should add that your circles do not need to be perfect. I feel like I spent too much time drawing some of these circles when all you need is just quick guideline. Like, the circle doesn't need to be perfect. It's not going to be part of the final work. For this eye, I decided to go kind of a sad route. I raised the bottom lid. It could also be a thoughtful eye too, depending on how you arch the eyebrow. But really, like, look in the mirror for like facial expressions and see what your eye does, and then try to replicate what it does with certain emotions, whether your eyebrow goes up or what lid goes down, and just kind of exaggerate it. And for like a sad eyebrow, I kind of swoop it down a little bit, and I brought the eyelid down and up with both the upper and the lower. But back to circles, you don't need to even draw a circle if you don't want to. Like, if you wanted more elongated eyes, you can draw an oval, you can draw a square. Also, whatever makes it easier for you, like later, doing like when you draw a face in like 3/4 view, you gotta think of them kind of like a 3D object. When you tilt the face, like it's gonna get more narrow, the one that's further away from you. For this eye, it's kind of like a more exaggerated variation of the last one. The last eye, like it could be sad, but it doesn't. It seems like it still could be thoughtful, just in general. Like the one I'm drawing now, it is more exaggerated. Like the bottom lid comes up. It looks more pouty, like it could tear up. Just the overall arcs of it. And you can bring the eyebrow down, swoop a little more. For like a sad eye, you'd want not so much of it to swoop in the near the inner corner of the eye, but kind of towards the middle. Like, you don't have to draw your irises and pupils like me. Like, I normally draw a lot of my girls like kind of looking up, so the pupils are close to the top of the eye. But this eye is kind of like more of a surprise or shocked eye. If you're gonna do something that's someone that's like kind of surprised, you might want a lot of the circle utilized for it, and you want like an eyebrow that's kind of arched up and high. And a lot of times people might depict it by doing like a smaller pupil and a smaller iris. Like they just shrink down. Definitely, when you add eyebrows, they are a very big part of like any character. You want to think about the flow, where the beginning of an eyebrow may sit to the end of an eyebrow, how it kind of walks to the end pretty much. I also totally just spelled lefty without a T. Like, to expressions, there's a lot more to it. Like, some of these eyes may not necessarily look like what they're supposed to, but mixed with just a mouth in the other eye, like, it really helps immensely. Often when I did characters, to me, like, their eyes still looked hopeful or content. To me, content. Like, I didn't do a lot of range of emotion in some of my earlier art, and to me their eyes were content, but they normally had a frown on. But that's just how I like to draw mouths. To me, they look content. We didn't really need to smile, but to other people, sometimes they need that extra mile of not a frown or just regular resting mouth. But I always got asked a lot, like, why are they so sad? So I can find myself on occasion probably working on expression some more with this new fairy series. It's kind of on the back burner. Like, I haven't really been working on the expressions, but it's definitely something that I see arising from this as well. Like, I originally just set out to pretty much just paint eyes. I wanted to paint different eye colors for the most part, and I found myself learning. And with this eye, I brought up that eyelid again. because that could also be a little joyous. Like, seriously, you can just play within the circle pretty much and try to make up your own expressions. Even study what your own face does, like look in a mirror, or what you see in cartoons, or just in general. Like, even my daughter has picked up on simple faces that represent anger or disgust, just doing little kind of, just little simple faces like a smiley face. But my daughter's learned emoticons pretty much from just everyday life. But definitely practice, because practice makes perfect. That's a lie, because you'll never really be perfect. You'll always be learning. Every time you draw, paint, whatever you do, you're always getting better at it. You'll never be 100%, but that's part of the challenge, always growing. If art was so easy, then it wouldn't be as, I guess, rewarding. But thank you guys for watching. I should have another video up soon, part of this. I'm not entirely sure. I'm still working on the second part. The second part I wanted to be talking about proportions and putting them on physically on the face, and talking about like a profile and like 3/4 view of how the eyes would look. I have not at this second made it yet, but I have done other. I have done the third part, but I think I'd rather wait to release that one till after the second part, where I talk about how to kind of position them on the face and whatnot. But thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe, because I plan on doing more tutorials, and I have lots of painting videos as well, time-lapsed of my paintings. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Till next time.